Hey everybody, it's Mr. Montgomery with a brand new science video. And well, we finished up with plants last time, and we're actually going to move on to animals because there's two different kingdoms outside. Okay, you have the plant kingdom and you have the animal kingdom. And we're going to start off with animal groups. I know you guys have read stories about animal groups towards, like the beginning of the school year. It's been a while, and we probably need to refresh a little bit on those. So we're going to start with, let's see, let's start with some animals like turtles, like over there, and also maybe some frogs, like over here. And these two animals are in different animal groups. One of them is a reptile, and the other one is an amphibian. But how do we tell? Well, I figured out a few questions that we can ask to help us figure it out, and I made a little presentation just for you guys. So let's get to that.
And here we are, guys. I made this just for you. Here's a little slideshow, and there's going to be a little some fun quizzes towards the end. I've figured out some questions we can ask ourselves to figure out what's a reptile and what's an amphibian, and how are we going to get through all this? Well, I'm here to help you out. Don't worry. So let's start. We have all seen these animals before. On the left, we have a turtle. And the middle, we have a cool frog that you've probably have seen at Rainforest Cafe. If you've ever gone to Rainforest Cafe, he's like their mascot. And lizards, like on the right there, a goofy looking lizard. But they are not all in the same animal group. Two of them are in the same animal group, but one of them isn't. So some are reptiles and some are amphibians. How are they different? So some of these animals are reptiles, like I was saying, like that snake. That snake up there, he's a reptile. Yeah, snakes. Ugh. And at the bottom here, we have a froggy, which is an amphibian. So what makes an animal a reptile? I know that's what you guys are thinking, and you want to know this pretty bad. So here are some main things that I listed about reptiles. So first, oh no. Okay, first we have a reptile is a cold-blooded animal. All right? That's why they're always sitting out in the sun and they just love that really hot weather. They lay eggs. So all reptiles lay eggs. And they have scaly skin. See all the scales on his face there? And you can see the body looks kind of rough and dry and stuff like that. So the first two things I have on here are that, amphibians, they're also cold-blooded animals. And they lay eggs. And I know what you're thinking. That's similar to reptiles, and I even put that over here. That part is very similar to reptiles, and that's what makes these two animal groups kind of confusing. But don't worry, because there's some really big differences between them too. So what makes them different from reptiles? Well, they live part of their life in water. That's right. I'm not saying they just like to go swimming. I'm saying they live in water. Okay? And they lay their eggs in water. That's another huge difference. Reptiles, they lay their eggs in like the sand or in dirt or just on land, period. They don't lay their eggs in the water. And the last big difference is they have skin covered with mucus. And look at that froggy right there. That froggy is an amphibian. Because if you think about it, we learned a little bit about frogs earlier in the year. Frogs, they lay their eggs in water. And when they hatch out of these eggs, they're tadpoles. And the tadpoles swim around in the water. They live in the water. And then as the tadpole starts growing into a frog like we see here, then they start living out of the water. They still like to go swimming, but they no longer live in the water. But that whole time he was a tadpole, he was swimming around living in the water. He was breathing in water. But what about animals like an alligator? This one's kind of tough because they spend so much time in the water. But there's 3 questions I figured out that we can ask ourselves to figure out if this alligator is an amphibian or a reptile. So the first question we're going to ask ourselves is, does it have slimy skin? What kind of skin is on this alligator? Next, does it lay eggs in the water? And the last question is, could it ever fully live underwater? Does it breathe in water at some point in its life? Or does it always need to keep its head above the water to breathe the same air we do? Well, let's look at this first one again. Does it have slimy skin? Look at this alligator right here. What kind of skin does it have? Is it slimy? No, it's not very slimy. So that's a big nope. It does not have slimy skin. It actually has scaly skin. If you were to touch an alligator, it would be kind of rough. And the next question, does it lay eggs in water? If you don't know this question, that's okay. But again, that's a big old nope. Alligators actually lay their eggs on land. And trust me, you never want to be near alligator eggs because they get super duper protective. And the last question, could it ever fully live underwater? No, it can't. It can't breathe in water. It can't live underwater. At any point, it always has its head above the water so it can breathe in air. Let's try another one. Okay, a little mini quiz for you guys. Is this a reptile or an amphibian? This guy over here. So again, we're going to ask those same 3 questions. Does it have slimy skin? Does it lay eggs in the water? And could it ever fully live underwater? I want you guys to try to figure this out on your own. I want you to think about these 3 questions for a second and think to yourself, is this a reptile or an amphibian? And you have to pick an answer, okay? You have to pick something. Alright, so think to yourself first. What kind of skin? Is it slimy? Does it lay eggs in water? Could it live underwater? Alright, I'm hoping you have an answer by now because we're going to start going through this. So the first one, I think you guys can answer just by looking at the picture. Does it have slimy skin? Yes, it does. It has very slimy skin. Look at it. He looks super wet. He looks so slimy. And the next one, does it lay eggs in the water? I don't know about you guys, but I have no idea. Whatever will we do? How will we figure this out? You know what? Let's go to this last one. Could it ever fully live underwater at any point in its life? Like a frog. I don't know that one either. Oh, man. But here's the cool thing. As long as you have said yes to any of these 3 questions, it's going to be an amphibian. That's right. So this guy right here is an amphibian because we said it has slimy skin. No reptile has slimy skin. Okay? Even if you don't know about if it lays its eggs in water, that's okay. If you don't know if it ever fully lived underwater at some point, that's okay. As long as you figure out the slimy skin part, I think you guys are going to be just fine. So let's go to your assignment. First, you're going to need to get a piece of paper, and we are going to make a T-chart just like we did before with the living and non-living things. Where, see how I made this giant letter T? I made it out of blue, well, blue color. It's kind of like a marker for, my slideshow. And after you make that big letter T on a paper, you're going to label one side as reptiles and the other side you're going to put amphibians, okay? And we're going to make a list of animals. Well, not just any list. You can't just say, oh, I already know what I'm going to put for reptiles. I made a scrambled list of animals that you have to sort out. So make sure you draw this picture, and if you need to pause the video, go for it and pause. If you're good to go, let's move on ahead. Here are all the animals you have to sort out. We have a frog. We have crocodiles. We have a Komodo dragon. We have turtles and a salamander. So you have to sort these 5 animals into the 2 different animal groups. They're either going to be reptiles or amphibians. Okay? And as soon as you guys finish up that T-chart, make sure mom and dad take a picture of it and send it in to your teacher. Okay, I can't wait to see everyone's answers. Oh, and if you want to have some extra fun with this, draw a picture with your word. Don't just write the word frog. I want to see you draw a picture of a frog with it. And for a crocodile, draw a picture of a crocodile with it. Same thing with a turtle, a salamander, and a Komodo dragon. Have fun with this, guys. So, I can't wait to see everyone's answer. And I hope you guys had fun learning about reptiles and amphibians with me. I hope to see you all again next time. Have a great day.